You're listening to Spiritual Growth Tools on the radio, helping you understand the blocks you have in your life to being happy, with a wide variety of guests to help you better understand the problems you're having in your own life. Whether you're depressed, poverty-stricken, suffering ill health, or confused about how to take the next step, discover products, services, and information that will enable you to grow with grace and address issues that are preventing you from happiness, health, or abundance. Go to spiritualgrowthtools.co.uk and find out what's holding you back.
Well, hello everyone, and you are listening to Spiritual Growth Tools on the radio, where we discuss spiritual growth, what that means, and how it can help you to move forward through the blocks that you have to health and happiness. Today, I am the guest, and I am being interviewed by my dear friend, Anthony Lewis Churchill. So welcome, Anthony.
Thank you. Good evening to you. Yes, it's a bit of a turnaround, isn't it?
It absolutely is. Yes, I'll be on my best behaviour.
Good. I've got some great questions for you.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, we will do. Now, I understand that you've just been on a fact-finding trip to far across the seas to Kenya. And this is all because of a project that you have in mind called Tree Planting Holidays.
Absolutely.
Can you explain a little bit about why Kenya to begin with, and where did you come up with the idea of Tree Planting Holidays?
Okay, good questions. So, gosh, where do I start? Why Kenya? Well, I've been working with an organisation called the treesisters.org for maybe 2 or 3 years now, I'm not entirely sure, excuse me, because I'm absolutely passionate about trees and reforesting the planet and, the environment and how mankind is responsible for what they do. In January this year, now I've been a staunch Greenpeace supporter and I've done a lot of charity work through the years for various different organisations, Friends of the Earth and WDCS and the David Shepherd Foundation, lots and lots of different things. And I'm also completely in love with my passport. So over the years, I've been very privileged to go and visit many places where I get to see wildlife in their home, in their environment. And one of the ones that has stuck with me the most was the safari that I did 20 years ago with some friends, and we went to Kenya. And we went and basically did the tourist route. So we had a fantastic time seeing, all the different animals. And I just had an inkling that it was land that I'd like to settle on at some stage in the future. But it was a fleeting instinct, and it really didn't stay with me very long. And in January this year, I was sitting at my desk and I was posting on my group, which is Spiritual Growth Tools on Facebook, and I was posting something about how awful, I think I was posting about chemtrails or something to do with fluoridation or Fukushima or something. Anyway, something like, look at what we're doing, isn't it awful? And I just heard this deep voice in my head say to me, well, what are you going to do about it? And it shook me to the core. It was a voice that I really recognised. I can't tell you who it was, but I felt like I knew the voice. And it stuck in my head for a couple of days at least, and it was driving me crazy, actually, because what can I do? And I faced all these, I suppose, overwhelming fears of I'm just one little person, and what difference can I make, and da-da-da. But it started becoming clear on day 2 that what I really wanted to do was plant trees. And I think that's why, the Tree Sisters then suddenly made sense. I'd done a lot of work with the Tree Sisters.
Yeah.
And, I really wanted to plant trees. And it kind of snowballed from there, really. I got the figure of 1 million in my head. I'm not sure where the figure came from, but that stuck. I started thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful to build hobbit homes? So, just low impact, low environmental impact houses. And then I was really aware that what I wanted to do the most, the thing that I wanted to do the most was make a difference. And I think that's where Tree Planting Holidays came from. It was really the idea that what can I physically do to make a difference? So I, like I said, I wanted to plant 1 million trees, and I thought of having people to come visit me in Kenya, which is the home of the safari, quite frankly, and do some of that with me. And I have to say, I can't get the pictures off my camera, which is very frustrating, but I planted a tree whilst I was in Kenya this time. And it was really challenging. It's like digging concrete. It was really hot. It was very uncomfortable. But it was one of the most rewarding things I've done in a very, very long time.
And did you have to build your house first? You say you want to build hobbit houses. When on your trip, did you have to build a little house first?
No. I went to stay with some friends who happened to run a tree nursery.
Okay.
And so they said to me, why don't you go and plant a tree? And I did so, and it was just such a wonderful experience. And I thought, right, I really want to share this with the people back home and in other continents that feel like they want to do something.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful idea. I mean, my next question here was why trees, but I think you just answered that because of your passion for wildlife and obviously trees and forests.
Well, wildlife needs somewhere to live, obviously. But also, if you look at Kenya, for example, it was hugely forested back in the day, and today 2% of it has got trees or forest that's workable, because they basically banned logging, which meant that the illegal logging business became really, really powerful. And the thing about Kenya that I really noticed and learned whilst I was there was that people don't have any respect for the forest, so they're chopping down these really old indigenous trees which are really good for the environment for them to stay living, and they're using them for firewood, or they're making charcoal from them, or, when in fact, sustainably, you could be planting trees that could be used for them.
So do you think that's a lack of education on their part? And so part of your project would be maybe to re-educate the people of that country as well.
Without sounding too arrogant, yes.
Of course, not being arrogant.
No, me. I was yes, I'm going to re-educate. No. But I think it definitely is something about a cultural shift in discovering that the forest is of value, in that we can have beekeeping and we can grow other crops within the forest.
Yeah. And bringing it back to life.
And the medicine that is in Africa is, it's a completely unplundered pharmacy. It's a natural pharmacy, and it's really exciting. I'm just learning about all the different trees and what they're good for, and it's phenomenal. And of course, they're all dying out. So it'll be a little bit about, bringing those back into the environment. But one thing I do want to say is the statistic that I was reading was that we are replacing 1/10 of the forest that we are chopping down. Well, the forest and the trees are the lungs of the planet. Literally, we breathe out, they breathe in. They breathe out so that we can breathe in.
Yeah.
So here we are on this ridiculous trajectory where we're like, we're just progress and greed and destroying as much as we can in the name of progress. And actually, we're being really short-sighted, because trees give us so much. And yet we don't really understand. I think we've lost sight of how important it is for us to live surrounded by trees. So some of the project is really trying to readdress the problem. I know in Kenya they said that they wanted to plant 7 billion trees in 2009, because they really appreciate how, the thing with trees is they make the topsoil stay. So their roots help to keep the topsoil. Of course, if you cut the trees down, that's when you get soil erosion and mudslides and all sorts of things like that. They bring rain to the area. They make natural defences for the crops, so your crops grow better. There's a whole list of things on my website, which is treeplantingholidays.com, of what trees actually provide us with. And, I was shocked when I was learning all about this, that we just have no understanding of how unbelievably important they are. And quite apart from anything, sitting with your back against a tree reading a book is one of the most delightful pastimes in the world, because you've just got this massive support from a living
good
thing.
Energy around. I love trees. So going back to the message you had, the calling, do you feel it was a spiritual calling? The message you had that said, this is the time for you. Now, I'm not going to mention your age, but earlier in a discussion, you said, why me at this age? I questioned, but it doesn't matter what age you are.
No.
But you feel it was a spiritual voice that was calling you? I mean, I only ask you because I've had the same recently with my Little Wings project.
Yeah.
That I feel like I've been called to do this. So everything I've done in my life, although I thought wasn't attached to working with children, actually is. Now I look at everything. So everything that you've done so far in your life is connected to this project, would you say?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's why you feel you had a call.
And it's interesting because, normally in society, if you say, I heard voices in my head, you get locked up and they put a straitjacket on you straight away.
Yeah, they still do that, yes.
but for me, it's really interesting because honestly, for about 5, 7, 8, I don't know how many years I've been saying to Spirit, because I work, as you know, with angels and spirit guides and stuff. I've been saying, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't understand. Well, now I look back at those years, and it's really clear to me that I was healing myself, that I was getting rid of the old, that I was, doing this. But if I look back on what I was doing I was in international sales, I've worked in a lot of bars, I did a lot of restaurant work, I've done a lot of holiday work, I've travelled widely, so I've seen lots and I've seen lots of different ways in the world of doing things. So yeah, there's and I've always had this passion for making the world a better place. That's kind of written through my blood, if you like. I can't change that. So when the voice came, it wasn't a surprise, and like I said, I felt like I knew the voice, even though I can't tell you who it was. But it's really interesting because if you look at the Tree Sisters, she downloaded a whole project. I got given a question, so it's like, well, what are you going to do? And actually, if they'd have given something to me, there's a fairly good chance I would have rejected it.
Yeah, this took some more thinking about.
Yeah. So I went away and I thought about it, and to be really honest, I've always wanted to, putting my hands in the dirt for me is a really exciting thing, and watching a forest grow, I can't imagine anything that would give me more pleasure. Yeah, in reference to what you were saying, we were talking before, and I was saying it's really interesting. Every single person that I've spoken to about this has said something positive, or I'll give you some money, or I'll help in some way, or just, I think that's really great. I've had one comment that was like, but you're nearly 50. And you know what? That just made me say, yes, and that's why I absolutely have to do it now.
Definitely.
But it was just really interesting because I think, I'm really expecting a lot of the people that come on these holidays to be the same sort of age as me. There will be some young people and there'll probably be some older people too, but I just think I'm at that time in my life I really want to do something that physically makes a difference to the world. And we can leave a legacy for the next generation. And
I think it's a wonderful idea, like I said.
Thank
and
you.
What I've got down here as well, that you mentioned a couple of other places, Botswana for one, and Namibia. I can't even say it. But these are, I'm not very good with geography, but they're all places which could do with forests being replanted and giving lungs to the earth.
Absolutely. I think, to be really honest, anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa is crying out for, especially when you have a large population that's, in poverty, and so for me to say, oh, that's a beautiful tree and I want to leave it there, I've got to give up having warm food and a house that's been heated. Not that you need a lot of heat in this, but one of the problems that they have is they just chop the trees down and then obviously all the fertile soil leaves. So as you chop trees down, poverty kind of gets worse. So for me, I honestly not sure that it matters where I do it, just that I'm nuts about elephants. So I'd really like it to be somewhere near where there's some elephants. But, planting 1 million trees is quite a hard concept to grasp, and I imagine it's quite a lot of, I know it's quite a lot of land, so it really depends. I'll probably end up planting a few over here, a few over here, and I'm really going to take advice from the locals and find out, where it's most needed. But Africa seems to be really talking about planting trees a lot, and that's absolutely what we need.
Fantastic. And you need the people to come on these holidays And do you think people will, just playing devil's advocate here, do you think people will give up their luxury cruises and things like that and 1830 holidays to come and do something like this?
Well, I do.
What would you offer?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some hobbit homes. So really luxury, but made from renewable resources and, out of the earth. So they're going to be really quirky and really homemade, but very comfortable. I want to emphasize the comfort because I don't want to, have people coming and being uncomfortable. So I'm going to build 6 of these. So it's going to be quite a limited number, and there's going to be 2 bedrooms in each. So it's probably going to be sharing, and I'm thinking 2 double beds with 4 people. So the maximum there's going to be is 24 people. And then, Kenya is the home of the safari. So what I was thinking of offering was, 2 or 3 days planting trees, because it is quite hard work, and obviously you can do as much or as little as you want. And then you don't really want to be planting trees in the heat of the day, which is sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock, because that would just be crazy. So then spend 2 or 3 days with me, and then possibly go off to a safari holiday camp or go somewhere else, and then maybe come back again. In answer to your question, I think there's a lot of people like me out there.
I tend to agree. As I said, I was playing devil's advocate, but I think there are. I think you would catch the student population, the students who want to do some good in a gap year, but I think you would capture the older generation too, who would like to give back, and a lot more people are being aware of what, as you say, the danger the planet is in. So I think you're onto a winner with that one, and I think there is an audience for you.
Thank you. And also, I think very much that, when we were growing up, so both my parents were teachers, and they used to buy big, big cars and ram them full of camping gear, and we would go off around Europe every summer for 3 months. So everybody else, when I got back to school, had stories about how they'd gone to a caravan park in wherever, and I would say, oh yeah, and the gear stick came off when we were on a roundabout in Sofia, and then, the tent blew away because there was a big storm in Germany, and, and honestly, I don't think anybody believed me, because some of the stories were really far-fetched, but that's actually what we did do. And I'm not the only one that's been, done that, and when I've been on my travels, I've always met people whose parents encourage them to do hill walking and encourage them to go camping and, just do things slightly differently. And I think the appeal of a holiday that's not concrete jungles and all-you-can-eat bars, of course there's always going to be people that want to do that. And good luck to them. I'm not judging you in any way. It's just not my cup of tea. But for me, like I said, I'm so enthralled by watching the forest grow. And one of the things I've thought of doing, which I think is a really good idea, she says modestly, is if you plant enough trees with me, and I'm yet to work out the number, but I'm going to give you the Google coordinates so you can watch the forest grow.
That's an amazing idea. I like that. Yeah, I'll certainly come over and plant a tree then. If you can see you put the effort in. That's so good. And
there's always going to be people that can't come for whatever reason. They're housebound, or they just don't want to, and that's fine. So we're going to give you the option to, you donate, and we'll plant the trees on your behalf in your name, and all of things like that. And planting trees in memory of other people, which I think is a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
What was your original question?
You're very enthusiastic.
And I just want to say one more thing. Okay, so it was, do I think that there's a market for this? One of the things that I've put on my website is that the safari industry in Kenya is a little bit tired. I think in Namibia and Botswana, they very much are more catering to the kind of client that wants to go off-road a little bit, that doesn't want to go and look at 17 minibuses and one lion, the mass market tourism. And, Kenya really, really depends on its tourism. So it's really interesting that they haven't chosen to go the more ethical route. But for me, I think wherever I do land up, and at the moment Botswana's looking quite appealing, but I need to do a lot more research on where I'm going to go, because like I said, I only had this idea in January. But I think very much offering people some respite. So we've got the tree planting going on. I'm going to have a meditation centre, so I'm going to run some courses as well and use the working sustainable forest as an education point for the local schools, getting involved in the local community, so obviously employing local people. So it's going to turn into much more of a community and much more of a group. You know, at the moment there's myself and a few other people that are interested in doing this, but what I'm hoping for the project is it completely takes on its own personality. So, you know, I'm thinking of having, you know, I don't know, a shady stand with hammocks in, so those people that want to just literally come and read a book in the heat, that's an option. You can do that. For the die-hard people who want to plant trees all day, absolutely, off you go. I'm going to be planting things like orchards and so on, so there'll be jamming to do, we'll be making sauces, you know, there's always going to be lots to do. So you mentioned there gap year students, yeah. It's not going to happen immediately, but what my intention is to offer gap year students the opportunity to come and find out what it's like to work in a sustainable working forest. Which I just think it would be an opportunity that I would have loved at that age.
And also, I mean, these days, I've got a friend who's just taken a gap year and she's in her late 50s.
Yes,
so
of course.
We've got a different kind of gap year coming. We've got older people who have had their life, they've had their kids, and they want to do something different with their life. They're fed up with going to the local holiday camp for a holiday every year with their boring husband or wife, and they want to go and have a bit of adventure.
We don't offer marriage guidance.
No, we don't. I do. So you've got those kind of people, and they're out there because, you know, I've worked with them. I've just come back from the United States. Do you think that what you're talking about, your project, you want to reach out to the United States, Australia, you want to reach the world, because this isn't just people from the UK, we're talking a worldwide project.
I actually see when I tune into my angels, because that's what I do is angel readings, I hear very clearly that there's a huge market in the United States that are just looking for an adventure. It's more of an adventure holiday, but something really different. When I googled tree planting holidays, I really didn't find very much. There's a annual tree planting holiday in Israel, which they do every year, which I think is great, and then there's usually local tree planting. I could see some in Scotland, but nothing that I could see, and I'm really hoping to start a trend, because actually what we want is the trees to win. But I really love the idea of allowing people to come and do something completely different that actually is going to make a difference.
Yeah, and bravo. So my next question is, how can people, sounds like, you know, you've got a couple of people on board with the idea, but it is basically your vision. How can other people get involved in helping you go forward? Who are you looking for? What kind of people are you looking for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, yes, it's way bigger than me. I'm really aware of that. Let's start off with advice. So if anybody listening to this knows someone or is someone that has planted a forest and has experience of what is best practice, please get in touch, because that's something brand new to me. And, you know, whilst I've always flown by the seat of my pants, we're talking about a big project and I would like to learn some stuff, so that would be great. I definitely am interested to talk to anyone who's planted an orchard and whether or not I can put all the trees in one place, or, you know, just how to kind of what I want to speak to someone who's done jamming, or not the drums kind, you know, jamming or sauce making, but manufacturing from a perspective of actually, you know, selling the product on. I definitely need to speak to people who are willing to help me fundraise. That's something. And just whilst I say that, I'm going to be setting up a crowdfunding organisation. So anybody listening, if once it's set up, which I don't know how long that's going to take, but once it's set up, I'll definitely put a link under this show. If you are friends with me on Facebook, so Spiritual Growth Tools is the page on Facebook. That's where I'm going to be doing most of the marketing. So do come and find us on there. But if anyone can, you know, do a coffee morning, or, you know, sell some old clothes, or whatever it is that you can do, then yes, we'll be looking to raise money the traditional ways. Yeah. I see this as being a very female-driven program. I don't know why I'm saying that, but of course we want males as well. I do need someone who, so we're looking for people in Africa who, but these could be Europeans or Americans that come over and do this. So to manage the forests, literally growing and protecting and everything like that. So we'll be looking for those. I'd love to speak to someone that's built hobbit homes or homes from, recycled goods or, sustainable low-impact homes. I need to learn all about solar paneling and blue composting and, all of this stuff. So anyone that's got any information about anything like that, then I'd be really grateful to hear from you. The other thing that I was thinking of asking for is if anyone's got any second-hand garden equipment that they don't want and then they can get to Bristol fairly easily, I'd be really grateful to receive that. Same for, we need to speak to someone who can ship everything from the UK to Kenya, so that's something we need to learn about. Anyone who's made videos before who'd like to get involved, I mean, really, truly, I'm right at the beginning, and if you want to get involved from the beginning, this is you've got carte blanche. I have a really good idea of what I don't want it to be, and that's to become something that's really commercial, but I do want to hear from if your products are ethical and environmentally friendly. There's a chance that we might want to, become involved in some way with you and maybe, sell your products on our website. The website is right at the beginning. We've literally started doing it, so do keep checking back to that, and that's treeplantingholidays.com. But do get in touch with me on Facebook if there's anything you can think of. I don't think I've...
I've got my next question here is, what's your financial goal? And I got a figure at the end, but I'll let you know.
Well, again, this is something that's been given to me. It makes me a little bit nervous, but I think it's completely doable. And that is £250,000 GBP. I was talking to a good friend of mine who was on the radio show not so long ago, and he said, well, how many people would that be if you were getting £10 donations from people? And he said, and I said 25,000. He was like, well, that's easy. And I'm like, okay. But what we're going to be doing in the crowdfunding is pre-selling the holidays or putting trees in the ground for you. And again, this is something that will, become apparent once we've done all the work. But for now, £250,000 would get me completely set up with the Hobbit homes all built and furnished and, with heating and lighting and things like that. That would get the first 40 hectares of the trees, all the equipment in place, all the holes, so ready to go, and the restaurant set up and everything like that. So the infrastructure would all be in place, and then there'll be some left over for trees. And what I'm going to do is in the restaurant, if the locals come, we're going to charge one tree per meal. So that's something that, and we're going to be, obviously doing local fundraising there.
Yeah. Now, talking about the restaurant, Caroline cooked me something before we started the program. It's like an example of what she wanted to serve up. I'm still alive, and it was actually it was delicious. It was very, very healthy, and it's the kind of food that you are thinking about serving, isn't it? Healthy, wholesome food, off the land. So you're going to be growing the vegetables, you're going to be growing the produce, and getting the locals involved, no doubt, local dishes. So it really is going to be quite an experience of a holiday, isn't it, for people?
It is, and obviously, having said that, I'm allowing 2 years for the orchard to start producing fruit. So that it is going to take time. The veggies, one season, and we'll be using everything from the garden, which I'm really looking for. Everything's going to be it's going to be completely ethical as far as I can, completely environmentally friendly, and you'll also be able to carbon offset your flight there. We worked out how many trees it's going to be for a flight from New York and a flight from London, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think one was 35 and one was 28. So we're going to say to you, okay, you can come, because I know a lot of people who live an environmentally friendly and ethical lifestyle don't really like to get on aeroplanes, and I couldn't agree more. However, this is going to say to them, and you can come and put enough trees in the ground to offset your carbon, and at the same time be really looked after. Because there's a little bit of me looking at maybe health tourism as well, because there's nothing better for you than to sleep in the earth. I mean, it's just this is so primordial. The health benefits of sleeping in the earth is just incredible. Plus, then non-pesticide, organic fruit and vegetables outside all the time, digging holes and planting trees and watering and carrying compost, and I think it will be really a good way to spend a couple of weeks if that's your bag, of course. And if that sounds horrendous to you, which absolutely, you're completely welcome to do that. Then think about maybe, so I'm going to fly to Marbella, or I'm going to fly to the Canary Islands, or I'm going to fly to New York City, or whatever it is, and I'm going to plant the trees in Kenya to offset my flight.
Wow, that's amazing. That would be really good. I could see that really, to coin a phrase, taking off. So you're talking about all this now, and you're based in the UK.
Okay.
Will you be going to Kenya? Will you be moving up sticks and going over there and being sort of basically there, running the whole shop?
So, who I am is a project manager. That's my personality. I like to manage something start to finish. I love the thought of living in Africa. I love the thought of living in Africa. I'm so crazy about elephants and lions and giraffes and blah. So and the thought of being able to I'm also Cancerian, and we Cancers love looking after people. It's what we do best. So I really think now the way that the sustainable forest has been designed, so that we're going to harvest some of the trees at 4 years and then replant them, and then some of the trees at 10 years and then replant them. So it's kind of a 10-year cycle, and we're going to make sustainable charcoal and then sell sustainable timber. So if I do go, it will be for 10 years. But I think my answer to that is yes. But we're right at the beginning.
Of course.
But also, one of the things I'm interested in doing is, once I've done this here, maybe taking some people and doing it somewhere else, because I just want to get trees in the ground. That's what I want to do. That seems to be...
That's your passion.
And the thing is, it's Africa. And in Africa, everything kind of just gets done in a weird and wonderful way, but for half the price, and everything's fixed and mended and recycled. Nothing goes to waste. So I'm sure once I get there and we start planting and everything, then other opportunities will. And I'm thoroughly expecting, and I can really hold the energy for other people to step forward and come and join me in this project and take it back home to America or Europe or...
No, I think you're right. You see, working the way I do and the way I believe is that when you have a project or you believe in something so passionately, it can't fail. All we have to do is believe, and then we have to be patient for when it's the right time for this to happen. Now, I too read cards, as you know, because I was a guest on the show right at the beginning.
You were.
And I read cards, and I deal with life. I call it intuitive life coaching, and I use cards. And I read Caroline a while back, and all I could see was forest, trees, forest, animals. And she was living there. So the question I asked earlier about do you see yourself going there to live and not here in the UK, I knew the answer already. But
the funny thing is, when you did that reading for me, I could...
None of this was...
It didn't make any sense, because I hadn't...
Because none of this was about...
I had to do what I did last year in order to get to here, to be able to hear the mission and take it on. Exactly. And I'm pretty sure the way I believe... life is, I will have downloaded that project, but I can be damn sure someone down the road has, somebody over there I think time has come to really...
It's your time. It's your project, your vision, your time. And, the only advice I'd offer you is keep believing in it, because obviously something this big, because it is big, you can go a couple of days really believing in it, and people are on board, and they might ring you, and hopefully from this program people will get in touch, and I really feel they will, and keep it going along. And then there might be a couple of days or a week where you hear nothing, and the momentum falls. You just got to keep it up. You just got to keep believing, because it will work. Anything that you're passionate about works, and I only know that because I believe in my little project, with big project.
And I think we're going to work together on that.
Little wings, and you need little wings to get into the trees, don't you?
Little wings and little trees. But it's really interesting what's happened, because for years I feel like I've been paddling upstream, going the wrong way. Nothing's really worked out for me, and I've been really fractious is the word I like to use. I love that word. And suddenly, so I hear the voice, and I didn't immediately go, oh, well, all right, I'll have a hedgehog farm or something. I was like, no, what do I really want to do? And from the depths of my soul or somewhere came this, I want to plant trees. And it surprised me. I have to be really honest with you. It's not something I would have chosen. But now that it's come, it makes complete sense. But since that time, just every time I've spoken to someone, they're like, oh, I'll help you with that, or I'll give you some money, or, my brother-in-law's, a huge game reserve owner in South Africa, or just all these different opportunities, and my job is just to keep open-minded enough and willing enough to receive, because I really think this project is going to take on its own life, and I'll be there pushing a little bit in the beginning, but at the moment, I'm like, I've never lived in Africa. I've never planted a forest. I've never run a restaurant. I have had a restaurant, but I've never run one. But all of these things I absolutely know that I can do. And I'm going to get the right people in place to help me with that. And it just is so exciting.
And it will happen because, like you said, you're open to your vision and you're open to it. I was just looking behind in the studio here, and Caroline's got a vision board on the wall. Everybody knows what a vision board is. It's a collage of visions. And there's trees, and there's monkeys, and there's chocolate as well. Elephants and wildlife, big word, wildlife. So this has been your vision in your studio for some time now. And you must be very excited that you feel it's almost sort of here, isn't it? It's right in front of you.
I can actually see it happening, which is just so wonderful after all those years of searching. But it also feels right, and the knowing comes from deep within, and I think that's what I've been looking for all these years. And I'd forgotten all about standing on the soil in Africa, but that's why I went to Kenya. I went to stay with some friends, and I just wanted to put my feet on the soil and say, is this where I want to do it? And Africa, to me, just is the right place. All the research shows that planting trees in the tropics is much, much more effective than planting them elsewhere. Planting them elsewhere can raise the temperature. I can't remember the science behind this, but planting them in the tropic brings rain to the tropics, and then it just helps global warming much better. I wish I could sound intelligent at that point, but I've completely forgotten the science. But anyway, all the research says to plant trees in the tropics, and Africa is the tropics. And this is a wonderful thing that was said yesterday, which I posted, because I just, for years I've been saying, why don't people get global warming? I don't understand. There's so much science out there if you want to look, and so many people seem to be in denial. Well, yesterday the World Meteorological Organization said that previously people could have damaged the Earth's climate out of ignorance. Now ignorance is no longer a good excuse. And I absolutely believe that my role on this planet is to do something and give something back. And, again, I've been privileged enough to go to all corners of the world and see all different sorts of cultures and wildlife and, amazing things. And, I did that in a very hedonistic, when I was in corporate and I had lots of money, and I didn't care about the environment. I didn't know about, well, I did care, but I didn't see that I was supposed to stop flying. My head didn't quite get it. So that was my denial. And now I just think, this is the time. And yes, it does feel a little bit overwhelming right now, but like I said, if the right people come forward, which they absolutely will, and help me raise this money, and then if I'm offering the Google, I think that's such a brilliant idea, offering the Google coordinates so you can check in on your trees. I just think that's amazing. So you could be in Seattle or New York or Miami or, Frankfurt or London or Paris, and you can know that your trees are growing and that you can check in on them at any time. I just think that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing. I think it's a fantastic project, and you say that's why you're here, that's your calling. but what you're offering other people as well, you're offering them the chance to follow their calling.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is amazing about this concept, because there are a lot of people who probably are sitting there at home now thinking, I'd love to do something like this, but I don't know how. And you're the how. You're giving them the how. This is how you can do it. This is how you can get to Kenya and plant a tree. And there aren't the avenues there for them to look at, and you're offering them the avenue. You're offering them the chance. So, bravo, I'd say, for that one. But
thank you.
So you probably sat there for years thinking, how, what am I here for? And now you've found your path. You don't need to know how it's going to happen, because you're going to get people coming forward. You've been very successful as an individual over the last 6 months at least in setting up this radio station, doing the work you do. You've got listeners. It's all meant to be, because this is your bigger project and it's coming towards you.
Thank you. And I just want to say, when I left the corporate world, I was really confused.
Yeah.
And I've been there in the same company for 17 years. I still talk to some of my customers, so that's how important my customers were to me. They've become friends, and I just didn't know what to do with my life. And I do believe I had another moment like this, and I literally handed in my notice and I typed in Mexico turtles, and that's all I typed in. And I found this thing, and I was on the plane the next week. And I went and I sat on a beach in Mexico for 3 months doing, counting turtle eggs. Like, when the females laid the eggs, you sort of steal the eggs and you go and replant them. You learn how to make the nest the same so that they're in the right environment. And you replant them behind these big fences so that the poachers can't get them. And then you sleep on the beach overnight, and then when they're born, I think it's 90 days later, I'm not entirely sure that date because I'm not very good at numbers, as you can tell, then you sort of keep them during the day because the pelicans will get them, and then you sneak out at night and you sort of put them on the beach and off they run. It's just, honestly, it was just the most rewarding thing I've ever done. It was a little bit expensive, and to be honest, the accommodation was appalling and the food was disgusting. I mean, really, really diabolical. The experience was one of the best I've ever had, and I don't remember now the food. They had us in tents, and there were scorpions and snakes and wild.
Okay.
It was a bit. Anyway, and there was no running water, no electricity. But I had the best time of my life. I just loved it, and it was really funny because one of the things I like to do is when I had a big bucket of turtles ready to go to the sea. They're really strong little blighters, and you hold them because you want to wait until the pelicans have gone, so you're holding on to them and they're fighting you. It's really funny. But what I would do is I'd put them on the sand and then go, enjoy your life, have a nice life, it's been lovely to meet you, off you go, watch out for the, and I'd talk to these little turtles. And all the 17-year-olds that were with me just thought I was this barking woman, absolutely crazy. Within a month, they were all like, bye, turtles. It was so funny. My point is, so that was one of the most dramatic experiences of my life where I just got to really feel how it must be to be. I don't know what I'm saying, but it was just amazing. What I'd like to offer in return is a very comfortable and nice and healthy environment where you can also, should you choose, go and plant some trees. The thing is, you could come and lay in a hammock with a book all the time if you want to. That's fine. It's not obligatory. Of course, I think everyone should plant at least one tree just to feel how it is. But one of the things I wanted to say was I think I might appeal to artists, photographers, poets, writers, anyone that wants to have a bit of a holiday where they've got no interference. Because trees tend to be quite quiet. And I was thinking of also possibly renting one of the huts out for, say, a 3-month period where somebody just comes and literally gets away from the busy life that they lead in
like
Europe.
A resident artist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then again, this is building my community, which is what I really, really would like. So so this, again, it's an option. I'm going to put everything, once it's been decided, I have a big meeting tomorrow with some people that want to help me, which I'm excited about. I would check on the website. I think holidays are going to start in 2015. I think that's realistic because it's going to take probably 3 months to build the houses and probably 6 months to raise the money.
And can people get involved before? Can they come over and help you build the houses?
Absolutely.
I can see people wanting to do that.
Absolutely.
Not me, but I can see other people wanting to build the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would probably have to be on a voluntary basis, but if anybody's got 3 months and they want to go and do something completely different and have some fun doing it, please get in touch. I would be so delighted. I can see about 500 people applying.
I can see quite a lot, yeah.
There'll be a lot of digging in the hot sun, though, because we're going to, dig them into
but
the earth.
It's an experience, and like you said with your turtles, you will remember. You will always remember that experience, and people will remember this. So, if anybody's out there who wants to get involved in this project, I would, as Caroline's going to give you all the details, listen out for all the details at the end of the program.
Let me give you them now.
Okay.
So the best place to get in touch with me immediately, because I'm nearly always on Facebook and I really have to get over that addiction, is Spiritual Growth Tools. The page is Spiritual Growth Tools. Do come and find us on there. I usually answer fairly quickly. The website is treeplantingholidays.com, and the email address is info@treeplantingholidays.com. So that's how you can get in touch with me.
Well, that's brilliant. So I think we've come to the end of the questions I've got for you, and I just wish you all the luck in the world. Not that you need it, because I think it's going to be a project that takes off very quickly. You wait and see.
Thank you.
That's my psychic head on there. I want to thank you for asking me to come along and host the show tonight. It's a marvellous thing to do, and it gets, don't be cheeky, it gets the voice out there to a lot of people, and thank you for asking me.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for stepping in and being the guinea pig for my food today. I really appreciate it.
It was delicious, honestly, it was delicious. Anybody passing the house, I won't tell you where it is, you might get lots of cool callers, but you can smell the burning. No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, the food is delicious. If it's going to be like that in the middle of Kenya or Botswana or wherever you end up, I'm sure this is going to go all over the place.
Well, actually, that's brought to mind something. One of the things I keep thinking is, oh my God, I'll be able to make fig and peach ice cream and all these things. Of course, Kenya is one of the hottest places you can go. And most of it is generator driven, which, ethically I'm not sure I want to have a generator because of the petrol. But so it's hopefully going to be solar paneling, and if anybody knows about solar paneling, I'm your girl. Please come and see me, and composting. But so one of the things I want to do is just take loads of fresh fruit and make it into smoothies. Oh, yum yum yum. Okay,
it's going to be great. It's going to be great. And I can see us working together. I just come back from the USA, and I was on a bit of a fact finding tour for Little Wings, because it's going to be a part of his children's clothing, and I was looking at ways of producing children's clothing and what sort of fabrics. And I was opened up to the bamboo and the hemp, and all this is illegal to grow in the UK and in America, but it's not illegal in these other countries. And we can do a lot with this planting, and the kind of thing you're doing will, sustainable planting, I suppose that's what it is.
And I'm so excited to get involved in the medicinal trees and find out what Africa's got to offer, because, and one of the things I was reading, I need to learn about this, but one of the things that's listed on the website as trees provide us with textiles, and I was like, oh, okay, that's maybe another, micro industry that we can get involved.
Because I came back to the UK very excited about the garments that we're making as a prototype range for the Little Wings. And I went around London. I'm based in London now. I went around London. Do you know what? The only hemp they sell, it's rough, it's Hessian. You can't wear it. And yet the hemp and the bamboo I saw in the States, it was like silk. It was beautiful to
colours
touch.
And things.
So it's expanding, but it's going to take a while, and we need people like you and your project to help this along.
Can you imagine all the African children who are the cutest children on the planet in your little wing dresses and things?
Brilliant. So thank you very much.
You're so welcome, and thank you for coming, and I really look forward to working with you in the future. I really can see this happening. So
thank you guys for listening in.
And if you want to look at what Anthony's doing, it's littlewings.org, is that right?
Little Wings, www.littlewings.org.uk.
Okay. So, thank you so much, and I'll take on the reins now of being the host So, the next show is on April the 8th. The show airs at 7 p.m. GMT, and my guest is Shoshana Stokes. I can't say it. Shoshana is a world-class psychic, and we will be taking calls, so if you'd like to ask a question of spirit, be sure to call in next week. Thank you so much for listening in today. Please don't hesitate to get in touch if I can help in any way. I forgot, I'm also at Tree Vacations on Twitter, so I need some followers. So if anyone wants to follow me on Twitter, that would be great. Just because I'm just starting out. But yeah, I'd love to hear from anyone that's interested, and I'd also love to hear from you if you would be interested in the holidays, so that I can start compiling a list of people to send the information out when it's all ready. So thank you so much for listening and for taking an interest in my project. I'm so passionate about it. I just cannot wait for this to happen. I send you all lots and lots of love, and I say stay safe, and I hope you find the tools you need to grow with grace this week. Speak to you next week. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Spiritual Growth Tools live on the radio. For more information, go to spiritualgrowthtools.co.uk.